Christian Mallard, who is in our studio in Paris. Good evening, Christian. Christian, the question that I wanted to ask you since the beginning of this...
Good evening, Lucy.
Good evening. So the question that I wanted to ask you since the beginning of this evening is, and maybe throughout this day, is why France? Why France is right now the biggest target for ISIS? More than any other country, France managed to make these terrorists really angry and to point the finger, and we heard today in the video, we heard them talking about François Hollande, about the fact that the people and the Muslims in France are being humiliated and taking from their rights, and they are not getting education, and they are living in poor conditions. Why France?
Well, as your guest just said it before I took over, it's clear that France is the only European country, with the help of small help from some other countries in Europe, who took the lead of the fight against Muslim fundamentalist networks, Al-Qaeda in North Africa, in Sahel, in Mali, in Niger, with the help of the Algerian. When you see all the situation developing in Libya, where Islamic State is taking root. Now, the French always said they would be involved in the fight in Syria, where we have about 1,232 French citizens who are involved in the fight with the Islamic State in Syria. And we go to Iraq, and we took a recent decision to send the air carrier, the Charles de Gaulle, which is a plane carrier, which is a kind of substitute for the U.S. plane carriers. Theodore Roosevelt, we just quit the Persian Gulf, and we'll be back with another one on midst of December. So it's clear that the French wants to be one of the leaders in the fight against the Islamic State. And President Hollande said it very clearly. We are not going to bow down. Fight will go on. And we will need to be a ruthless fight versus these barbaric terrorists, did he say. And I think he is right. And we are ready, sure, with all the risks we have to face. We are ready to go on fighting. This is what the president asked. France must not bow down, and we have to go with the Russians, with the Americans, which have been all targeted in a different way. And this is why France will be in this fight definitely for a long time.
You know, I'm trying to think, Christian, about the maneuvers that all the international community has been doing for a long, long time now. When you have different interests between the international coalition, when you have Iran, when you, with the Iranian deal, with the Iranian nuclear deal, when you have on the other side Daesh, when you have a deal with Russia, when you have also Syria, which you want Assad or you don't want Assad, when you have so many interests and oil and money, how at the end of the day you will be actually to be relevant and actually fight this terror organization?
The French government, the French authorities, and President Hollande have to be serious. It's clear they have to understand that neither the Iranians nor the Russians, President Putin, want to get rid of Bashar al-Assad now. The still Bashar al-Assad will help to stabilize the situation in the fight against opponents of his, and at the same time in the fight against Daesh, against the Islamic State. But after a while, we are convinced that President Putin will say, if we succeed in stabilizing the situation in Syria and Iraq, definitely we can start off thinking about a political future which will put around the table all various participants of the opposition in Syria. And I think after what happened today in France, I'm convinced that the French, the Russians are going to be united, and the Americans also, to say, my God, after what happens, we don't want it to happen again, these same kind of things everywhere. We need to be united. We need to fight. And the closer we will be fighting together, the better chances we will get to eradicate Islamic State. If we don't do it now, I think the Islamic State will have some nice days ahead.
Yes, Christian Mallard, thank you very much for this.